Coming up on First at 4, the Pikeville Police Department is preparing for the future, hoping to build a new headquarters. What they need to get it done. Plus, President Biden looks to reassure Democrats worried about his re-election bid as his campaign fends off critics and attempts to bolster support from top lawmakers.
Temperatures today were pretty much where we should be for this time of year anyway, in the mid-80s, but the 90s are going to make a comeback, and I'll tell you when in the First Alert forecast in a few minutes.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon. I'm Olivia Calfee. First at 4, a preliminary hearing scheduled today for Ethan Brown was postponed. Brown is charged with assaulting an officer and terroristic threatening. The incident reportedly happened at the Letcher County Jail on July 1st. It was postponed because of a scheduled mental competency hearing. Court officials said he has to prove he is able to understand the issues at hand. A preliminary hearing is now scheduled for August 1st at 2 p.m. in Letcher County District Court. A boil water advisory is still in effect for a third straight day in Laurel County. It's affecting customers in the East Laurel Water District and the West Laurel Water Association. The advisory was put in effect for the East Laurel Water District around 9:30 a.m. on Tuesday due to a line break. Officials say residents should boil all drinking and cooking water for 3 minutes before using it. The advisory will stay in effect until the situation is corrected. Today, Congressman Hal Rogers' office announced 15 projects he hopes to see funded next year, devoted to emergency response, industrial development, drug abuse prevention, and more. One of those projects would support the construction of a new police department in Pike County. WYMT's Buddy Forbes explains.
The Pikeville Police Department is preparing for the future, working on plans and hoping to secure funding to build a new headquarters. With a 31-year-old police station that was built for a department much smaller than the current force, Pikeville Police Chief Michael Riddle says he is hopeful that growth is on the horizon for his department. Plans have been underway to build a new police department, but funding has been a concern. Now, Congressman Hal Rogers is championing the project, hoping to earmark nearly $4 million to be included in the 2025 community project funding, alongside 14 other projects.
Just the expectation of thinking that, we may finally get to build us a new police station, and something that I think will serve our department, members of the department, but also probably better serve the community. We're just real excited about it.
Now that funding has not yet been approved and there are more hurdles to overcome, but officials say they are hopeful and looking forward to planting progress right here in Pikeville. Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
All right, Buddy, thank you. And we will have more about the hopes for the project coming up at 6. Kentucky coroners hoping for a pay raise and more resources are making progress. Several Kentucky coroners have been working for over a year and a half to see an increase in pay and benefits. The Madison County coroner says he and members within the Kentucky Coroners Association have been gathering numbers to present to legislators. They hope to show state leaders how little coroners are actually paid.
I understand, you can't rob Peter to pay Paul and all that sort of thing, but maybe something on the state level, or they can create something that would go to these things for coroners to have equipment, coroners to make a reasonable salary. You get more people interested in it, that sort of thing.
The Madison County coroner says a meeting with lawmakers is set to happen at the end of this month.
Highs today should be around 85 degrees, and that's kind of where we hovered throughout the day, between 84 to 88 degrees. And right now we're seeing a temperature of 82 in Hazard, 85 in Jackson, 86 in Irvin, as well as Moorhead. Same story in Somerset. Monticello, oh so close to 90 here at 89 at this hour, 87 in Harlan. 10 cooler towards Wise. Here's the latest with live pinpoint Doppler radar. We have a clean sweep across eastern Kentucky, and this will get a break as we go into tomorrow, into the weekend, into the first part of next week. It's when we get into Tuesday, Wednesday, that rain and thunderstorm chances will start to pick up. So we'll see temperatures staying in the mid-80s as we go throughout the evening hours. By the time you join us tonight at 11, we'll hover right around 77 degrees, 69 as we go into the 5 o'clock hour. When you wake up in the morning, temperatures in the 50s and 60s will greet you. I'll have your first alert forecast coming up in a few minutes. Olivia.
All right. Thank you, Eric. President Biden has had a busy week hosting the Summit of World Leaders and trying to convince nervous Democrats that he's up for the challenge of running for re-election. Many say they will be closely watching tonight as he conducts his first solo press conference since last November, and the stakes are high following his debate performance a few weeks ago. Skylar Henry has more details from the White House.
President Biden spent the day meeting with world leaders as the NATO summit he's hosting in Washington is coming to an end.
We are counting heavily on America's support in this. God bless America. Slava Ukraine.
We will stay with you, period.
All eyes have been on Biden throughout the event to see how he handles the rigors of the summit.
I have absolutely no concerns about the capacity of the current president of the United States.
But Americans themselves, including Democrats on Capitol Hill, say they will be closely watching the president's solo press conference this evening to see how he performs.
I think the president has to present a clear and convincing case to the American people, not only tonight, but in everything he does.
Senior Biden campaign advisors met with Senate Democrats behind closed doors to try to reassure them that the president can run and win. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries will be talking with the president himself to express concern some of his members have about the president's run.
We're continuing to have conversations with each other, and those have been candid, comprehensive, and clear-eyed.
A new Washington Post poll shows a majority of Americans and Democrats say that following the president's debate performance, he should step aside. But the poll also shows President Biden still running even with former President Trump. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
The Washington Post poll in a hypothetical matchup has Vice President Kamala Harris running slightly ahead of Trump in a head-to-head matchup. And coming up on First at 4, another scary moment on a flight as a blown tire disrupts an American Airlines takeoff. We'll have the details.
And get ready for the heat and humidity to make a return for the weekend. We'll talk about that in the First Alert forecast coming up in a few minutes. Stay with us.